Ideally, I would have cut this yesterday, but I had no idea it was going to get up to 85 degrees today, and it's only mid-February. So yes, we've had a very mild winter here in Central Florida this year, which is 2024. But all is not lost. It hasn't made the flowers yet, although I bet by tomorrow I will see little tiny flowers here, but I'm not going to give it a chance. I want to be strategic in where I cut this stalk off, because just because I'm cutting the head off doesn't mean this broccoli plant is finished producing broccoli for me.
All I have needs, I have not provided.
This plant didn't make a very big head, but that's okay. You add them to the rest and you've got a good mess of broccoli. Look down in here. Can you see that bud that's right there? That is the beginning of another small stalk of broccoli, the size of broccolini. Here's some examples. So here's the head of broccoli I'm about to cut. Here's some that's grown in just 3 or 4 days after I cut the head off. See where I've cut the head here? See, right here. And so now I've got a few broccoli stalks, and they're not technically broccolini, but close enough. They taste the same way. So I'm going to come right back over here. I'm going to cut this guy off right above where I see this little stalk coming up right there. So not only will I get some here, there's probably going to sprout up some more here and further down in there. So once you cut this head off, it sends a message down, further down, to make more. If you look real closely, you can see that there's another stalk coming out right here. If I cut this right here, then both sides of this little stalk is going to have 2 more that shoot up. They're not going to be as big. So you just kind of have to make that judgment. Do I want to cut it here where there's another one coming up right here? Or do I want to take a chance and have 3 tiny ones? So I'm going to cut it right above that leaf node right there. See that little one coming in right there? And that's a good sized broccolini. Now look, you see this little, it's already starting to make flowers. Now if you can, go ahead and leave your broccoli in the ground and see if you can get it to make seed heads. Then that way you can save your own seed. I don't have that luxury. I don't have the time. I've got to plant a spring vegetable in this bed right here. I think that one's ready. When the weather has been cool and I can leave the broccoli plants in for a longer period of time, I've seen Waltham get waist high and continue to send out shoots like a really well-developed bush. And that is one reason why I was really interested to see how good the Waltham would do compared to this is Decicio. And this is the Waltham bed, which is about 10 days behind the Decisio, which is right behind me. So I can't do any comparisons yet, but it looks like it's putting out quite a bit of side shoots, and I love them just as much as I love the heads of broccoli. This is about half of the broccoli heads that we've harvested already. We already ate the other half, and they were great. This is the amount of broccolinis that I've harvested so far. So they're almost as much as half of the heads that we've harvested. So I don't know if it's my climate, the soil, the type of, the variety of broccoli plants. I kind of think it's all a combination. And honestly, I think it's the Florida climate. It's just a little bit more difficult to grow a good head of broccoli here. So I'm still on the hunt for a better broccoli plant that will give me bigger heads. If you know of any that has worked for you and you live in a subtropical area, drop a line in the comments below. I'd love to try it next year. Now, this isn't the end of the harvest either. A lot of my friends online tell me that I can saute the leaves and they're really, really good. So far this year, I've had mustard greens, and that's all they're good for is the greens. I've had turnip greens, which have the turnip and the greens, and those are delicious. I've had rutabaga greens. I really like those. They're a bit hardier than the turnip and the mustard. So I'm thinking that the broccoli leaves are going to be about as hardy as the rutabaga leaves. Stay tuned. I'm going to let you know how it goes. I wonder if cutting these leaves will encourage the side shoots to grow. I'm not going to cut the leaves off of every single one of these plants because I want to experiment and see if that's so or not. So I'm going to leave about half of them without cutting any leaves off of them. Some of these leaves are already pretty spent, and I don't think they would make a good green to eat. But some of these look pretty healthy. Well, the Waltham leaves look a lot better than the ones from Decisio. So I'm going to take these in, cook them up for dinner. It's the end of a long day. I cooked them under pressure for about 12 minutes, and when I took them off the pressure and cut them up, I knew that they weren't done. And I also thought they needed a little help. I didn't think plain broccoli greens were going to taste like broccoli. It didn't smell like broccoli. So I took some concentrated vegetable base and onion powder, some garlic powder, put that in about 1 cup of hot water, stirred it up real good with a whisk, and poured that in over the greens and stirred them up again to make sure that all that flavor would be completely through the greens, and put them under pressure for another 5 minutes. And so here we are. Looking at them, they look to be about the same consistency as collard greens. So here's the taste test. I've never had broccoli greens before. Well, do you want me to be honest? They're not my favorite. Definitely edible. Definitely, if I didn't have any other greens, I would eat these. The flavor's good, but I think that's because of all the extra stuff I added to it. Perhaps if I would have left more of the stem off, it would have been better. And maybe cook them for another 2 minutes under pressure. But we have mustard greens that grow so prolifically that there's no need for me to have to harvest the leaves here. But by all means, if this is the only greens you have besides the broccoli that you're getting, harvest the leaves too. I'm sure the nutrition is there. And they really don't taste that bad. It's just, I've been spoiled with mustard greens, which is a very tender green. It's so peaceful here at the end of the day, and I am so thankful. It's God who gives me all of this. I get to grow things and then I get to eat them. It's amazing. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. It really helps. Do you hear that mockingbird? It's so beautiful.